Hi, everybody. Before my sisters get up in here, not that they don't know already, but I wanted to let you all know a little bit about a book that I just recently got. It's called Watermelon and Redbirds, a celebration for Juneteenth. A cookbook for Juneteenth and Black celebrations. I'm sorry, that's what it is. Anyway, I was having a giveaway, and I am so excited that everyone has got their book. So if you were a person that was actually involved with the giveaway, thank you so much for just your support of my show. I have a weekly show every Saturday at 10 a.m. on WEQY, which is a St. Paul community radio station. uh Good.
Hey, everybody.
How are you doing?
Hey, Bougie. What it do be?
Hi, I was talking about the book that I just got. Anyway,
Oh, yes.
yes, I'm so excited about that. Anyway, I was just telling people about a little bit about my show. It's again Saturdays at 10 a.m. on WEQY. It is a St. Paul radio station. So our show, this series that we do, Eating with My Sisters, is very unique because we're not in all the same city. Okay, my sisters are, but I'm not. I am in the Midwest. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how important it is for us to get together and have these type of conversations. So yeah, this it's really great. Ooh, look at that. Look at the skyline.
Berry cakes.
How you doing?
Tati
Ooh,
and
nice
Bougie
background, Berry
Bougie.
cakes. Nice
Okay.
Thank
background there.
you.
I love it.
We have good sound. We have good sound. All right. I
We
see.
have good sound?
We have good sound.
Sister, you look
Yes.
I
beautiful.
know.
Do I have enough light? Do I need to
I
be
need
in the
to
sun a little more?
I need to step up my game or something like that because my camera,
Uh,
whatever. But whatever.
do it.
I love the fact that we are here, and I am going to put a banner up in just a second. But y'all talk about what's been going on with you all for the week. Talk about the show a little bit and everything. So yeah,
Well, I got to do a lot of research, guys, on the topic that we're talking about today, not on the Juneteenth side, well, but on our side. I got this
right,
great book. It's called Belize, Tracking the Path of Its History. And
okay,
there's some real great, interesting stuff to give a perspective of that there were struggles and there was something similar. But I don't want to jump ahead of the game because we haven't even really discussed and like introduced our topic. But
right,
yeah, I got some good stuff. And this is just a side point. So you know how I remember Granny and like all of our aunts and even our mom calling bracelets esclavas,
yes,
right? So I looked up esclava in the Creole English dictionary, but the only reason why I did is because while I was reading this book, it was talking about slavery. And
Uh-huh.
so that is the name that they called slave. It's negro
oh, Escalada,
esclava. So then that's what made me look up the word. So then I
right,
looked it up, and even it says bracelet, of course, but then it also says esclava, and it spells it totally differently. And it says sea bangles,
right.
esclava, slave or bangle, perhaps referred to bracelets worn by slaves. Isn't
Ah,
that interesting? How these words come into our history and we don't even know what the
But
basis
we
of
do
it
know
is.
why, because our derivatives, our language is derived from British language.
right.
Right.
And who had slaves?
Mhm.
So yeah, so it does make sense.
Yeah.
Does make sense.
It does
So
indeed.
I thought that was so trippy. So
Mm.
Yeah.
anyway, I'm
But
over here
but
making
then
my concoction.
okay, but I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. As where folks are talking about the word uh nigga. You heard me.
Right.
Okay.
Um, and they kept it within the community and be like it's just between us or whatever the case is. Well, likewise, I. Mm, the same way that you just actually described that whole about bracelet, in Belize culture and so forth, we have that name for it. Well, I'm quite sure that many back then also knew what that meant, but they're going to be like, we're keeping this for ourselves and we're going to make it something beautiful. We're not going to make it something ugly. You know what I mean?
Right.
Before, that we're so used to seeing it on somebody's wrist with chains and everything like that. It's like, no, we're going to make this beautiful and we're going to keep this for ourselves and we're going to keep that same name. Not only does it helps people remember what our history is, but it doesn't have to be ugly. It can be beautiful as well.
Right.
Right.
So
Does that
it
make
lends
sense?
to it lends to that
It
whole
does.
thing
It
about the
does.
word, the exact same the exact same sentiment that you just expressed, bro. It lends to that same word, and I never really I understood it, but it gives it an even deeper meaning for me now.
Good.
That you
Awesome.
sometimes you take
Well,
words from
right.
that are from your history that maybe described or was a part of something negative, and you put a positive spin on it and you use it to empower yourselves.
Right.
Right. You conquer it. You
Right.
conquer it.
You don't let it be something like a means of shame. Like nobody can, just like
Well,
say that
that does,
word and make you
if you take away the shame behind it, when someone says it, it's less.
Right. Exactly.
right.
When someone says that to you, it's like,
That power becomes yours,
yeah,
or you're able
Right.
to reclaim that. Reclaiming my time. No, I'm sorry.
right, right.
But yes.
So, but I'm about to eat me some
Sister.
ruffles, y'all. These are my favorite
Sister.
ruffles.
Well,
So
I got some Arizona, the lemon flavored the tea kind, and I got a little Shasta to go in there to give it a little bit of a kick.
A little razzle
That's what
dazzle.
a little
mhm.
razzle dazzle. That's
I
what
am
I'm drinking on
having
over here.
I can't tilt it too much, otherwise it's soup. It's that baked potato and cheddar.
Ugh.
Just
Now,
Mm.
even
have
though
Did you
time.
make that?
I love
Did
different
you make
kinds of
that?
foods,
I canned it.
he
I
he
uncanned it.
made it and he made it his own.
Hmm. I
But
put
even though
Parmesan
I like
cheese.
different kinds of foods,
Mm, yum.
I'm sometimes a creature of habit, and I know that I made a video showing me eating this club sandwich the other day, but
Right.
it's so good, and it's right downstairs at Miss Claudia's. I've just found out that they've been there for 23 years,
Wow.
so she knows a lot about the history of downtown LA. The sandwich is looking nice and sexy,
Cool.
so yeah, that's what I'm having, and I'm having some lemon chips again because that's just
All
my
right.
bag.
Well,
Okay.
I'm
Now,
having
are you on your phone? Are you on your wireless network, or are you trying to be on wireless? Or are you on your phone network, sister?
I, I'm just on my phone. Like I didn't I was on the Wi-Fi of my house,
All
but
right.
I just came upstairs and we're here and we're good. And sister was on, her. I don't know were you connected to the Wi-Fi of your house, or you just using your phone network,
oh,
sis?
I'm having. Let me tell you what I'm at.
Mm,
All right.
I'm having a BLT.
mm.
And boy, does it look delicious.
All right. I see that.
You know what I'm talking
Hmm.
about?
And it's
That
good.
look good.
Yes. BLT with my wonderful ruffles and a nice cold grape
Oh,
Arizona.
all right.
So this is what it is.
Okay. So,
The sandwiches are courtesy of Debbie Cakes.
all right.
Sandwiches are courtesy of
Claudia's DTLA. So it's on 6th Street. You can't miss it. Like I said, she's been there for 23 years. She makes a variety of different kinds of sandwiches. The business is run by her daughter, and her husband.
Okay.
It's called Claudia's. And it's
So
down, if you're downtown LA and you want a sandwich reasonably priced, hit her up.
Well, as you all see from the ticker that's going across at the bottom, I mean, y'all keep eating. I'm just going to mention about the banner. Our topic is going to be Juneteenth from a cultural versus historical perspective. And excuse me. We say it like that because, as I mentioned in the description too, coming from a Belizean-American, first generation Belizean-American, our background is a bit different than that of, am I correct by saying the standard African American? You know what I mean? I mean,
No, I don't want to say I don't think it's wrong, but I think it's
it's
safer to
probably
say.
there's probably a better way to say that, and I'm not saying it. So if you all feel there's another way to say that, we're I won't say. Okay, so let me say this: we do these things unscripted. This is not like, oh, we have a format. This is that. We know what our conversation is, and we go from there. And we sit around and we just eat and have conversation. So for myself, my sisters, we're very word educated, let me put it that way, but sometimes you just can't find the right words when you're in the moment, and for me that's what's happening. I've been typing words all day, so that's another story. But for me, that's how I'm going to say it. But if you all feel that there's a better way to actually describe what I just said, please feel free. I'm not going to feel any kind of way about it. That's just what's in my head right now at the moment.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
if you want to start off by saying I think it's I don't remember the word you just said, but I think the average African American whose history can be based here in the United States, of course, with having had their ancestors be forcibly brought from Africa or other parts of the world to here, that may be the average African American experience, where Juneteenth and the celebration and the making it of a federal holiday would be something of importance to them historically for that reason. Now, I want to clarify something. I say this a lot to people, and sometimes some people get offended when I say I'm Belizean or whatever. They go, "Girl, you black." Or if they say, "Oh, and I was like, I am black. Yes, I am, but I'm not African American." Now, does that mean that there was not slavery where we're from? Culturally and historically? Certainly not. There was slavery there.
Yes.
And it was abolished, actually, not too long, maybe 30 or 40 years before it happened in the States, before Juneteenth happened. And the way slavery went was different there, and it wasn't because the people there were kinder or nicer. It was all to their advantage to treat slaves the way they did. And actually, when they had their emancipation of slavery in what was called then British Honduras, in 1834, I believe, they were set free with indentured servitude of 7 years that had to be served. And then they were able to be, to pay, to receive wages and to live a certain way. But then there were some aspects of slavery there where they were given a certain amount of pounds of meat per week, and plantain, and all kinds of foods that are traditionally foods that we eat now. Belize is so culturally rich because of the aspect of slavery and slave labor that was brought in, but there was also indigenous people who were already there. The Maya, the Yucatan Indians, and the people who were native to the land, the Arawak Indians. It's just so rich, but it's separate from the experience of African Americans who have an appreciation for the celebration of Juneteenth and the fact that it's been made into a federal holiday.
Right.
And so, I, as a Black person, yes, I'm affected by the racism and the things that happen in America, but on a, historically, just because of the color of my skin and because of where I live. But culturally, I look at Juneteenth from a different perspective because I feel like it didn't affect us in that way. You know what I mean?
I kind of know I understand what you mean, but it's the idea of it. I don't know. I'm wondering what it means to other people because
Right.
I mean, I'm normally, well, I won't say normally. I'll say the majority of people that I've inquired that of, they're like, black people got free, Juneteenth, and it was in June, you know, and we got our freedom. That's when we got our freedom. And then you start seeing little like people putting stuff on T-shirts like it's the freedom for me. I don't just, it's like, what does this, how important is this really? Because if it's as important as you're saying it is to the community and it's such this milestone and I'm not saying that it is or that it isn't, but I'm saying if it is, how could you dare make a joke like, oh, it's freedom for me? It was like a party, like party settings, napkins, plates for a Juneteenth party that said, it's the freedom for me. Does that offend anyone else? Because I just thought it was poor, very poor. Even if, first of all, I wouldn't be wanting to make a joke about the first Juneteenth,
Official
holiday
celebration.
ever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
so if
keep
you
in
were trying
mind,
to be funny, that was poor. You know what I mean?
keep in
Right.
mind
People
though
might
too,
not agree with me, but
some
I just
people.
wonder really we're talking about what it means to us and how it might mean something different to us than it does to others. But what do they really think of this? Like, how important is it? Or are they just saying it because it's black related, that it's cool, or that they like it, or that they're for it? Do they know what it's about?
Well,
Do they know what that means for people? For like I don't think that.
is it
That's
something
the
that
part that
should be
bothers me. I don't think
celebrated
that's
in the
being
way that
conveyed much, you know? And
is
I
it
don't think
something that
that
should be celebrated with the kind of who am I to say how somebody's going to celebrate or commemorate their cultural experience? I want to say that again, it's not our experience culturally.
Right.
So I
And
have
I
to
think that's the
educate
point.
myself. I have to educate myself about certain things about it. I spoke to somebody who is African American and is from here and generationally, wow, generationally, their family experienced slavery in a different way and in a different time, being from Louisiana. And they're older than me, and they told me that they hadn't heard of Juneteenth while they were in school. They didn't hear, it wasn't discussed within their family, and he didn't hear anything about it until in the 2000s. And then it was just very brief. And my understanding was that the people who were affected the most by it, and I could be wrong, were the people in Texas. They're the ones that the ship showed up to and had to announce to them that y'all been free for 2 years or 2.5 years. And so, proceed, with your life. But I believe okay, well, brother and I, we talked about this, that
We
even
did.
though it was just made a federal holiday, some families and some people have been celebrating Juneteenth for decades
Yeah.
in the spirit of what it truly means. So now the fact that it's been made a federal holiday, people are like tossing it in there with Martin Luther King and and other holidays that have to do with the African American experience.
Right.
I'm not sure what happened to sister.
I'm not either. Keep going though, because I want to make a point about the whole we it's interesting because I think I was looking at some type of article or something like that, and there is an basically Afro-Mexican community that has been celebrating it for over 100 years. Over, do you hear me? Over 100 years. So I was just like, oh, now,
I'm not.
now
I'm
she
in. She's
disappeared.
out. Hey.
I don't know what's happening. That's okay. We'll get it straightened out. Anyway,
Yeah.
she was, but Auntie B was talking about, uh, what was she talking about? I forgot that quickly. I don't mean it that way. It was just the fact that she was talking about how long it's been celebrated, and then I came in also and said, keep going with that thought. Everybody popping in. Okay, but that there was Afro Mexican community that has been celebrating Juneteenth for over 100 years.
Mm,
Nacimiento de los Negros. Um,
mm.
and that is what? Yeah, just pretty much south of the Texas border. They have
Oh,
been
okay.
doing it for over 150 years.
Mm.
They're dark skinned. I mean, they're dark, but they are of Mexican heritage, and yeah, that's why the city why it's called Nacimiento de los Negros. But I need to
So
find
do
out a
they
lot more.
celebrate it as, as this has been, is this being meant to be celebrated, or is it the same meaning behind, or is it just something called the same thing?
No, it's the same. It's the same meaning. It's the same
Okay.
exact thing. And so, like I said, there's a lot more that I need to read up and understand about it too. So, I mean, that could be off topic or maybe just comments in the future. But clearly, it was just. I thought it was very interesting that I thought it was just myself or us that was like mixed, Belizean-Americans. Do we, or just Caribbean people overall? Do we really celebrate, you know, Juneteenth? My friend Cecil, if you remember, I had the same conversation with him, and he was like, I'm not too particular about it, or I'm not really interested in it because that was not my experience. And that was, I think, our point by having this conversation. People culturally, our experiences are going to be different. Yes, folks are like, we're black or whatever, look at us, but our experiences, from that standpoint, culturally, we have not had those conversations. Those weren't things that we talked about. I mentioned that
Right.
our parents didn't come up and like, oh, be proud to be a black and this and that. It was like, no, go get an
Right.
education.
It wasn't, I'm black and I'm proud.
No, it was go get a job. That's what's going to be
For
proud.
real. That's what it was.
Go make a family, go carry on this name or whatever the case is. It's like, yeah,
Go make a life for me.
yes,
Go make a life for me.
yes, yeah, fine.
Hurry up and go make a life for you and come get me.
Yeah,
Come back.
or go get a house so that I can come live in it or live with you. Ugh.
Facts. We're
So,
speaking facts now, people.
all facts, all facts. But see, I think a lot of I don't think we need to go really too much into this and everything, but just to remind people what Juneteenth is, and I'm just gonna read. I'm reading from this book, y'all, because it is a cookbook for Juneteenth. Anyway, Watermelon
Oh,
and Redbird.
okay.
Yes, Watermelon and Redbirds by Nicole A. Taylor. That's not a plug. I'm just telling you, that's not who the show is being sponsored by or anything. Right now, this show is being sponsored by the trio of Eating with My Sisters.
That's
So,
right.
Facts.
but
And that's why we
basically,
eating ruffles and not truffles. Okay.
you're a mess. But basically, Black people in other parts of the country embrace Juneteenth as an unofficial holiday commemorating the origin point of their American freedom. 144 years later, President Joseph R. Biden, blah blah blah, he signed the. I didn't mean that. He signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day. Among others at his side were certain individuals. But basically, Juneteenth, African Americans in June 19th, 1865, more than 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston and issued Order Number 3, informing the people of Texas that all enslaved people were now free. For the more than 250,000 enslaved Black Texans, the impact of the order was not immediate. Some plantation owners withheld the information, delaying until after one more harvest season. But a year later, in 1866, unofficial Juneteenth celebrations began in Texas. So again, as Auntie B mentioned, or Auntie B, I'm sorry, Miss Bevy Cakes mentioned, sorry, that wasn't to say that, you know, Belizeans or individuals that with Caribbean heritage, their ancestors did not have experienced forms of slavery, but that was in the Caribbean culture. Here in the United States, there was a specific reason why, okay, this happened, and this historical point in time is when people truly were free, you know,
in that region of the world.
In this region of the world, right? Exactly, and it was so historical because of the fact the way that it was done. I mean, here you are 2 years after you. Well, I'm only gonna say
the Emancipation Proclamation was signed.
Right. So, but now all he wants to do is give it a holiday. What about the 40 acres and the mule? You don't want to do nothing. They didn't say nothing about it. No holiday.
Which
give them the 40 acres and the mule.
Now, this brings me to the point that I was also making when I was speaking with Brother about this topic. I feel like and I could be wrong. I'm not a political person, and don't nobody, demonize me for saying this. I feel like this being made into a federal holiday. Now, first of all, I want to say this, because Brother was giving me some information about how some people have campaigned for this for years, for decades, to have, to get this put into law and to be made a federal holiday like it is now. But I feel like they did it finally as a distraction for all of the atrocities and all of the violence that has been inflicted lately in the media over the past few years in regards to Black people, African Americans, and this to deflect from it. Like, come on, I know, we had our foot on your neck, not literally, and
Ahmaud Arbery,
figuratively,
to quiet the Black Lives Matter movement.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right, to appease them.
Okay, look, you got you guys, Black lives do matter. Look here, let's give you another holiday. Martin Luther King's not enough. Black History Month is the shortest month of all 12 of the months. But here, let's throw something else in the pot. And are Black people or African Americans getting hyped or feeling justified, like we're receiving our recognition in some way, and it's really like a ploy by the government to deflect them from what they really should be receiving and what they really should be getting, like fair wages. And because people have already been saying it. Well, y'all got Juneteenth now. When I was at my event that happened to be on Juneteenth and Father's Day the same day, so many white people walked up to me and asked me, are you happy Juneteenth? Are you enjoying your Juneteenth? Or people asked me, after the weekend was over, what did you do for Juneteenth? I'm like, I didn't.
Okay, so I have a crazy cool question. What is a Juneteenth picnic look like? Like, what is going to be like the traditional Juneteenth food? Like, what would that look like at a Juneteenth party? Let's say 10 years down the way. What do you think is going to be on the menu? 10 years in, this is the first year they're celebrating. So 10 years in, after they're, what do you think is going to be like the menu at a Juneteenth gathering?
Rhubarb compote. Oh.
Ambrosia.
Meatless baked beans.
No, please
Really?
don't. I think
Pork,
it's gonna be chitlins.
caraway buttered trout. I'm sorry. I'm coming up with all this stuff, and I'm not coming up with it, but I'm just kind of like,
Is it me,
Oh,
or does brother sound like someone's shaking him?
a
uh,
little bit.
does it really?
But
Sorry.
yeah, so what do you think is gonna be on the menu for like what's gonna be like the staple items? Okay, so like for example, 4th of July, what do you get? You know what I'm saying? You get ribs, you get
Hot
hot dogs, you know
burgers,
what I'm saying? You get burgers. Um,
potato salad,
like,
maybe.
yeah. So like for Juneteenth, what do
I
you
hope
think is gonna be like the food?
I hope it's not just fried chicken. And
It's gonna be chitlins.
Ew. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
ew.
didn't mean to. I didn't mean
Some
to say
people
ew.
eat it and they love it, but I just can't bring myself to eat them. Just to know
I've
that
been
they were full of
bamboozled into
poop,
eating it a couple of times.
to know that
right,
they were full of poop. Their main purpose in the pig was to hold the poop. They held the pig's poop.
You know what? I often think about what is there something in our cultural, wheelbarrow as far as food is concerned that is the equivalent of that. Is there anything? I mean, tripe,
tripe.
that's stomach. We eat
What is tripe?
oxtails, but
That's their
tripe,
stomach. That's not
yeah,
the
that's the
I
stomach.
mean the boo boo.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That's
What
stomach
would be
lining.
what type of
Um,
equivalent?
Maybe cow foot.
no, not even that.
It's stepping in poop all day.
Yeah,
It's
but
own.
I
no, there's nothing like it in Belize culture. I don't think.
No.
No.
We throw that stuff away. Sorry, y'all.
I ain't never been to no Belize function where we had chitlins. Have you
Mm-mm.
guys?
No, no.
Now, who make this? We don't eat this.
The
Oh
what
no,
is?
no. What is?
What
What
is? Yeah,
is?
what is?
What
What is?
is?
We not eat this.
What
Who make
is?
this?
This
Who
mix.
make
What
What
this
is?
mix?
is? Who make this?
Mm.
What is? Who make this?
Who that for you, ma? Who caused you to make this thing?
And then next thing, what the hell for?
What?
We
What the
black.
hell for? Mm.
Well, I just think keeping, going back to the topic that it is important for whether you're African American with roots in that lead, back to the hundreds of years when Black people were enslaved, or whether you are a Black person from another region or another part of the world. It's important to educate yourself. Don't just blindly celebrate or join in something because it's
Right.
Black. Like, do your research. I think there's plenty of Black people who are out there who are African Americans and who, are just going with the flow. They found out a little bit about Juneteenth. They heard somebody say something. They saw an episode, and it's a holiday now, and they feel like we don't get enough recognition, so they're just gonna jump on the bandwagon. And my
Mhm.
advice, for myself included, to educate yourselves and
Right.
find out what it is that you're celebrating, and does it apply to you culturally, or does it identify with your experience?
Or
And I
do
think
you
that is
identify?
really the message of the show. That
Yes.
really, what you just said,
Mm-hmm.
kind of sums it all up because it's not about my opinion or your opinion or whatever. This is something new. Find out what it stands for before you stand behind it.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
And not just this Juneteenth or whatever. Everything, everything.
Like, I don't understand why
We
Black people
support
celebrate
artists.
Fourth of July.
We support people who make music and lots of other things who design clothes, shoes, whatever. We support these people, but we don't know what we're supporting.
Right.
Find
Right,
out. Spend
absolutely.
your money wisely and support the right things. that you stand for, you know? So that's what I think is
And
the good. That was like the
yeah,
coolest message of the show, B.
Was.
Yeah, B.
Um, Sis Bevy Cakes actually made a good point or asked a good question too about, why do black people, well, she was wondering, why do black people really celebrate like July 4th? And that was a comment that I had made too, not because I'm trying to poop on anybody's historical or their historical freedom. um but then I said, well, no, why would you, or why would, because that at that particular time, I mean, hello, July 4th was being celebrated way prior to Emancipation Proclamation and so forth. So why would black
and when it began, when it was instituted and the celebration began, black people were still enslaved. So what are
and
we celebrating?
indentured and
Celebrating a
still doing
time
things?
when the country who got independence from who was oppressing them
Right.
continued to oppress us for hundreds of
Others.
more years. What are we
Exactly.
celebrating exactly?
And then
Just to be celebrating?
the thing about
You
that
know,
too, during the time period, even through Jim Crow, black people were not able to eat vanilla ice cream. I'm sorry, this is just a side point. You were put in jail or charged with something.
fined or punished in some way.
No, literally, and that's a true statement. It was only on July 4th where you were allowed to have, a black person was allowed to have vanilla ice cream. Any other day, if they caught you, if you walked into a soda shop and not knowing or whatever, and you just have it, oh, I'd like to have one. You better hope you walked into the right soda shop. But you said, I'd like to have a vanilla shake or something like that. They'd look at you and hopefully not beat you right there, but they would call the police on you. So I'm
Wow.
yeah, that's true. Maya Angelou talked about it. She actually spoke about it and said how she experienced that herself. Where I think her family had went down to like Washington D.C. and they were going to celebrate, and you know, they went inside and asked, and she didn't understand why they just kind of like looked at them like, "Get out of here,"
That's
and
just
they didn't.
crazy to me.
Now, listen, this also brings to mind a topic that we can probably discuss at another time because our time is getting close. But how does making Juneteenth a federal holiday right now gel with the fact that in Florida, it's on the bill where they're debating removing any type of topics, including slavery, from the history books or anything that would make a white person feel uncomfortable? How are white people going to feel comfortable with a whole month that's about, Black History Month? How are they going to feel about a holiday that basically took their
Reminds them of
soul
all
away
the
from them,
atrocities that they
took their
did.
livelihood away from them? So it feels like a setup. That's all I want to
Girl,
say.
all this stuff
And I could
is
be wrong, and people
so.
will be mad that I'm saying this, but it's just my opinion. But I feel it feels like a setup.
For what though?
Setting it all up to take it away. If they're planning on making a law, they're fighting to make a law that makes it unlawful to make a white person feel uncomfortable. Think about all the things that make our presence, our hair, our skin, all the things that they try and emulate and culturally misappropriate from us is what makes them uncomfortable. Our
I mean,
very existence makes some people uncomfortable. How is this going to work?
I'm,
How is this going to
even though there's the Crown Act, which is, if you all are not familiar with that, where it talks about a person cannot be discriminated against, for their hairstyle or, especially if it's their natural hair or their hair that's cultural to them. they can't be discriminated against. And again, that's under the Crown Act. That would also be all involved in that as well, if that's the case, because if someone looks at, let's just say, sister, both of you have braids, you have pretty braids, and
Look at
someone
my melanin
and
my
someone was
pretty
like,
braids.
I don't understand why they have to have that. I'm sorry, I'm just saying, the caucasity that some might actually say might actually have,
I
and be
love
like,
that word.
I don't understand why they have to have that. Knowing good and well, they're probably thinking, well, why do they get to have braids and I don't get to have braids? And like, because it don't look good on you and you can't handle it. But still, it's that whole, okay, well, it makes me feel uncomfortable. And it's probably just a personal thing more than it is anything else. It has nothing to do with, well, how is it affecting your life? How is it affecting you from
But
keeping
once
a
it's
job?
a law, once
No,
it's a law,
well,
what does that sound like to you?
no, but I understand.
If my very nature makes you feel uncomfortable and is a reminder of the atrocities that your ancestors have inflicted on my ancestors, what is that? How is that going to show up? How is that going to look in the world?
I wonder if that has anything, if that will be kind of like similar to, or how is it relatable to like the Holocaust? Because right now I don't really see that. I just see it as the CRT, and of course, when they're talking about CRT, that's a red flag for people, or it's a triggering trope for folks, because they automatically, I don't understand why we have to understand about race and the critical race theory. I want my children to be able to love anyone and appreciate anyone's race or whatever. It's like, do you hear yourself? Do you really hear yourself? But I'm just saying how I just, people are just talking about that on a white and black situation. I don't hear that when it's what happens with the Holocaust, because that's Jewish, individuals that are Jewish, or
Yeah, well, sometimes they try to deny that the Holocaust even happened.
right,
Which is
exactly. I mean,
absolutely ridiculous.
even to this day, and we know that millions died, millions.
Right, right. And
Were
they need to knock
executed,
that off.
were exterminated.
Yes,
And it
exterminated.
wasn't just Jews, it was the majority were Jewish people that were
Right,
affected by it. But
but
if you're trying to deny that even happened, wait till they start trying to deny that slavery ever happened, or because the talk of slavery makes certain people feel uncomfortable.
well,
What the
doesn't that
results
sound
of
like
that
right
is
now?
going to be?
Doesn't that sound like right now?
Yeah.
I mean, the
Mm.
whole, like you saying, all it takes is just one person or one state to all of a sudden come up. Well, it seems to be working over there. Well, we're going to also implement it over here. And then it just starts to be this wave going across the country or something like that. But I'm just saying, this is not a political show or anything like that. These are just topics that are trending right now that we're talking about. But look at who is actually really pushing that to the forefront. The governor of Florida, I'm not going to say his name, but clearly, if he's going to try to enforce that there and sign a bill and everything, that it goes into effect in Florida, if he becomes the next president of the United States, or the new administration or whatever, think what he would actually try to do across the nation, or
Right.
to have these conversations with the Supreme Courts. I mean, okay, you all are women. You understand the whole situation about respecting women's bodies, or respecting anybody's bodies, but in this case, women's bodies in general. How is it that any woman that's even on the Supreme Court, for you to I thought, when my history mind or whatever, how I've learned the separation of church and state. If you are going to be a person that is going to be in government or whatever, no one's telling you to totally disregard your faith or anything like that. But once you start to actually use your faith to then try to govern everyone in the whole, like in the nation, there's a problem. And right now, individuals that talk about, oh, well, they want to start using the Bible, and we are Bible students, scholars, whatever that
Right.
we are personally, for them to go off and start talking about, well, if God wanted this to happen, or he wouldn't have caused this to occur, these things to, if he wanted life to be considered important, or considers life important, and whatnot. Okay, but also, aren't humans given free will? And who are you as one individual? I mean, that will make you judge and jury to be a person, ruling over
And
someone else.
that doesn't sound like growth to me, because that's what y'all have always
Right.
always did that. So where's the change? Where's the growth? Where's the new era?
Right.
Like, no, there's not. This is just a new way to do the same old thing. That's all.
Right.
So
I'm just confused about. I'm not confused. I'm just using that phrase. I'm confused about all of that. How.
Sidebar, sister, you look so sexy right now.
You
oh,
do.
girl, like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, man.
You're
You
looking
are
very,
30
you're
years
looking
old.
very
And
sexy,
so do
darling.
you, my God.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have.
Oh,
I'm
thank
gonna
you.
have to wait. Hold on. I'm.
We're
I'm.
sexy
Yeah. So,
beasts.
but yeah, we all are. Sexily Kardashian. You
Oh,
all
let's
know him
not
as the
forget
the
sexy
bougie foodie, but
Kardashian.
he is sexily
Sexy
Kardashian
gray
to
beard
us.
Kardashian. Look at that smile.
Yes. Oh, yes,
Show
darling.
it to
Yes,
him,
yes, yes,
sexy.
yes, yes.
Do it to him.
You know that, right?
But this was great, guys. We had
Yes.
another great conversation, another great topic. I think that this was a really good topic. It was timely. It's, like you said, something that's trending right now. And we had a different kind of a spin, probably a different kind of conversation than what everybody else has been saying about, different
Right.
I mean, there's so much
take.
more.
It's a different take on things.
There's so much more that could actually be said as well. I mean,
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
would like to delve into more on another topic or another conversation about, the actual, to keep relevancy, to keep it relevant, the institution of slavery within the Belizean culture and how it manifests itself, and some
I
of
want
the
to get
things that
I'm trying to take a picture.
it's very interesting. Are you
Mhm.
taking selfies, Sexley?
No, I mean I was, but whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Sister, I'm gonna need
Sexy.
you to make a video saying something about your role in this trio, in our venture that we're doing, so that we can post it on our social media. For those of you who may be watching this at a later date, if you're watching it on YouTube or on Facebook, please like, follow, share, comment, dislike if you didn't like it. But just interact with
And
us, please.
also come back
We
for
are
our next live. Like, we're going live every Thursday, talking about different things, or cooking
yeah.
different things, or
So wait,
just,
are
so
we
come,
saying are we
Check us out on
saying that?
Instagram. Check us out on TikTok.
yeah,
Okay,
we're
so
everywhere.
With
We're
my
everywhere.
sisters.
are we
We
saying
are.
that we're doing this every Thursday now? So I
Yes,
can
Seems
every
that way.
Thursday,
I'm pretty
six,
cool with it.
six
If
okay.
it,
o'clock
if
our
we ain't,
time.
I don't know what we've been doing.
Okay, I'm just
Right.
saying, because I'm gonna put a schedule. I'm gonna put this on, where it comes up every week, and all I gotta do is just put the topic up there, and we know that we need to get together at 6 o'clock your time, 8 o'clock my time.
Well, I'm
Let's
proud of
do it.
us. We did it today. We
Yes,
was
we did.
cute. We was on time, basically,
Yes,
and
yes.
we had it together. We got our sound better to this
Okay,
time. We got
so
knocked
we,
out some of the technical
we're gonna have to.
difficulties.
I'm gonna say we're gonna freeze for a moment, but we're all gonna smile because I'm taking pictures or screenshots.
Okay.
So
Okay.
love it. Hold on. Wait till I show y'all. Bloop. I love it.
Okay, right now. Right now.
Girl, no, I already did it.
Do
Do it
it
again.
now.
Wait,
Do
Do
hold
it
it
up.
again.
now.
Hold up. I gotta find my wait. Hold, you can unsmile. Hold on. Just
No, we
remember your
can't.
pose. Yes, you
Okay,
can.
there's this thing on Instagram where it says how to do your sexy look. You raise your
Let's all do
eyebrows.
it.
Okay, raise
Raise
your
my eyebrows.
eyebrows.
Oh,
No,
Squint
first
your.
smile without
Okay, so no,
smile without using your eyes. Smile
no.
without using your eyes.
This is a different one. You
Then raise your eyebrows
raise your eyebrows, squint your
and then
eyes.
stop smiling.
No, and then bite your lip.
Ooh, Auntie B, we're not doing that. That's sexual. That's sexual.
God.
Sexual.
Come on, raise your eyebrows.
Okay,
Squint
raise
your
my eyebrows.
eyes. Squint your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Bite your lip.
Ooh, actually, I know what I can put it in.
I look like I'm sick.
Yeah, I know. Where is my?
Okay, so this is supposed to be your model face. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready for the model face. What do we do?
Smile without using your eyes.
No, smile.
Without using your eyes.
Okay.
Smile without using your eyes. Now raise your eyebrows. Now stop smiling. But
All right.
supposed to do your model walk after that.
I'm here for it.
So smile with no eyes, raise the eyes, and stop smiling. What you doing? And wiggle your lip.
Hi, baby.
Don't quiver the lip.
A
Don't
baby.
quiver the
Look,
lip.
there's a
You're
baby
trying to
over
do
here
the people.
saying hi to me.
Who?
A furry baby.
Oh.
All right, guys, this has been great. I hope you guys come back and check out what we got to cooking next time on
And I'm
Eating
telling you, you
with
guys
my
interact.
sister.
If you heard something that you liked or you heard something that you didn't like, we want to hear about it.
Exactly.
For real,
Make,
tell us about it. Talk to
Okay.
us. We talk back.
make sure
Give
to
us
For
that
follow.
real.
theme song again, sis.
Eating with my sister.
Okay, so y'all, wait a minute. We gotta tell folks where to find us. Remember, find us
We
on
right
Facebook.
here. We right here. That's where you find me.
Find us on Facebook under Eating with My
Mhm,
Sisters, or on YouTube
mhm.
under the same
I'm
name.
not naked.
If you have any questions or comments or whatever, please feel free to send us an email. Sister, the email is what?
Eating with my sisters at gmail.com. EATINWITHMYSISTAS. Eating
Perfect.
with my sisters at gmail.com.
Sweet.
If you're interested in being live with us or giving us some ideas or getting a shout out, hit us up.
Yep. Until next time, people. Every Thursday
Bye,
at 6 p.m. We are out. Take care, everybody.
everybody.